Hello, neighbors. Welcome back to
Hi.
the Future Neighbor podcast. I am Daniel,
I'm Katie.
and we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
You know, this weekend I saw one of the funniest videos I've seen in a while on BBC.
Oh, yes.
Someone tagged us on Instagram, and it's this lady who's teaching the entire UK, since it's BBC, it's UK, how to make egg fried rice. It's terrible. She completely messes it up. The most fundamental thing about rice.
I didn't see you crack up that much in a long while.
Yeah, because she was like presented as a chef, but what she ends up doing is she gets the rice and she puts in, I think, too much water. And then when she takes out the rice, she's like, oh, she lifts up the lid and she looks at it. And I could just tell by her like face, maybe it didn't come out so well, but she goes, it's perfect. And then it just looks like rice porridge. It's just way too much water.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And then the sacrilegious thing that she did, she got that like watery rice and then she emptied it out into a strainer. Like cooked rice. This is cooked rice.
Yeah.
And she said it was perfect.
Never seen that.
She dumped it into a strainer and then she put it under running water and she gave it another wash.
Oh my gosh.
And her like cool professional explanation was sometimes the rice gets starchy, so you got to wash that off.
Oh my god. But can you believe it? Egg fried rice is like the most basic thing you can make. And like someone in that like professional position didn't actually know, like have a clue about making egg fried rice.
So it was so like ridiculous that I kind of Googled and I figured out her name. Her name was Harsha Patel.
Okay.
So by the last name Patel, she's Indian, or at least she has heritage in India. And India is, hello, Korean rice. How does she not know how to cook rice properly? It's pretty unbelievable. And then it got broadcasted through BBC.
Oh my gosh.
And then the comments were hilarious. There was this like Malaysian comedian and he just gives a reaction to it. That thing was even more funnier. He goes like, "Ayya, where you learn how to make rice? Is there like a white school where you learn how to make that? I mean, what is that?"
It's like a different species of rice. And we were wondering whether we should do a reaction video too.
Yeah, I know. But you know, actually that Malaysian comedian, he reached out to that girl because his reaction video went viral too.
Okay.
And then that Indian British lady was getting so much hate, so he kind of reached out to her, and then they did like a collab.
Really?
Yeah, and apparently they're gonna release like, I guess, another video.
I'm curious what their like the BBC's reaction to like this whole like.
I'm sure they love it. It's views.
Oh.
Yeah, it's views. The more we gotta completely botch a Korean recipe like that. Do something sacrilegious. Like we should be like how to make the best kimchi fried rice, and then we'll just wash the entire seasoning off the kimchi, and then being like, you know, you don't want all that rotten stuff on it. We want it clean here. It's all hygienic food, and then just see what the reaction is, and maybe
but people would lose trust in you from then on.
Yeah.
I wonder how like people are gonna now watch BBC Foods on Asian food, right?
Yeah. The rice came out looking not bad.
Oh, really?
But like it just doesn't look flavorful. And then I was looking at her description, and she said she was like she's not a chef, but she's like a award-winning presenter. I don't know what a presenter means. Like, do you just get a recipe from somewhere and then just present it?
Oh,
I guess so. Pretty strange.
yeah.
What other things have we been watching? Yesterday, I did a 3-hour binge watch for the first time in a long while on Netflix. And
and we watched this Indian matchmaking program. What's it called?
It's that's what it's called.
Oh.
It's called Indian. I think it's called Indian Matchmaker.
Oh, that was so interesting.
Yeah, guys, that's not normally the programming that I would be into, but the Netflix series is just about how Indian couples, you know how in India there's a lot of arranged marriages.
Yeah.
And so I was very curious to see how other cultures approach marriage because, you know, we even haven't finished our wedding because of COVID and it's being pushed off. And I just want to see how arrangements were and turned it on. It was super interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lady who's a matchmaker. I'm not going to spoil it. Well, actually, there's no such thing as spoilers. Just, it's not
because it's all about like the story.
it's not like a continuous story or a plot. There's no plot line. It's just a reality TV kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this lady, she goes and tries to matchmake highly educated.
But they're all like really mostly wealthy people too.
Yeah, I think wealthy, like
high in the caste system.
Yeah, well educated. And what was interesting was the criteria that these people were looking for in a potential partner. Right? So number one, of course, was height.
Yeah, that was so much of that.
Yeah, for the guys, the lady was like, okay, this person needs to be over 5'3".
Yeah.
That's like minimum.
But then you can't be too tall or too small. You need to be like, somewhere like very close to your own height.
Yeah, and then...
But for the girl as well, girl wanted somebody who was definitely taller than her.
Yeah, and then number two, there was I think for one girl, she was a Guyanese.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is it the country of Guyana? If you're Guyanese, Guyana, I'm not sure. But basically, Guyana was a British colony. And she has Indian heritage, but her family was basically taken as, I don't know, maybe like slaves to the British colony. And then their ancestry runs as Guyanese.
Yeah.
And so she was probably the most prettiest girl in the first 2 episodes, right? Yeah. She was like, had her thing going on.
Yeah, by the way, it's Guyana. The name. It's a country in South America.
Yeah.
We actually didn't know much about it, but through the program, we knew that there was a lot of Indians there, and then a lot of them moved to America.
Yeah.
But they identify themselves as Guyanese as well as, Indian.
Yeah.
And apparently it's kind of like when you speak to other Indians and introduce yourself as Guyanese, there are some guys who don't really like that fact.
They're like off-put by it.
Yeah.
Because they don't see you as true Indian since you
that
are
was
in
so
South
interesting.
America.
Yeah.
So and then she found someone who was like half Guyanese. The matchmaker set her up with a guy who was half Guyanese, but then they just didn't click, so it didn't work out.
And luckily she found the Indian guy who had no problem with being Guyanese, and their chemistry was good. And
but that person didn't end up working out, right?
No, it was.
Oh.
No, it's another person.
Oh, another person. Who didn't care about her
being a Guyanese, but he wasn't Guyanese at all.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. I was thinking about Korea, and I don't think Korea has that much loyalty towards what province you come from. There is that, someone from Busan doesn't like families from what was it, Gyeongsang?
No, it's not doesn't like. It's just politically there is that conflict.
Can you describe it? I forget.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the whole map of Korea and if you split it in half vertically, and then the Busan and Daegu regions are sort of on the right hand side, and then the Jeollabuk-do, it's on the left hand side. And traditionally, I think has been a little bit of political conflict.
Ah, I see.
But that's just in politics.
Yeah, but it's never I would never marry someone from this, or I would not marry someone from this province.
But you do have some friends whose parents said that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. One of my friends, he was telling me before he got married, his mom was like, I have one wish. Do not marry someone from, I think Gyeongsang-do?
No, Jeollado or
I'm sorry,
something.
from Jeollado.
Yeah,
that's where my grandma's from. Yeah. My mom's side is all from Jeollado.
Yeah.
And I think his family is from Seoul. And funny enough, that she was from there.
Yeah.
And then his mom was like, oh, gosh, I told you that was the one requirement. But, she didn't really care that much. And they ended up getting married. But I don't know. I'm just drawing parallels between Korea and kind of their requirements of or what they're looking at. Because what I like about this series more than anything was, for the first time, we're getting to see how Indians or other minorities view marriage and what the criterias are. And it's not just Western values, just love marriage. I had no idea about what arranged marriages were. Katie, do you know what I just remember? In high school, there was this Indian girl that I knew, and I knew her older sister very well too.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to college, there was this huge story in the news, and I want to tell you about it. So she was Indian. She was dating this another guy.
Yeah.
And then on the news, it was a murder story. It was a homicide story.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So long story short, she broke up with the guy because his family didn't approve that he wasn't Hindu. So most Indians are Hindu. That's their national or majority religion. But this guy was Muslim. So the family didn't want a Muslim as part of their, or someone or their daughter to be married.
Yeah.
So they rejected him, and he couldn't stand that. And by the way, this is a family living in the U.S. This is a friend, all living in California. And so the guy, he murdered the parents. He came to her house. He set them on fire.
Oh my God.
And he set the house on fire.
And this is somebody you know?
Yeah, from my high school. I know her. And I know her sister too, who was 2 years older than us or 1 grade above us. And she was murdered that too. It was like a triple homicide. Or was it a double? I don't remember the details.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. The things that they're hitting on about it's not just about the girl or the guy.
Yeah.
The two families are coming together.
Yeah.
So that's what arranged marriages are about. I mean, there's a lot of parallels to Korea too.
Yeah.
I mean, in traditional Korean weddings,
it's the families.
Same thing. Families are coming together, so they see.
But even now, that's like what a lot of us believe,
too.
right?
Yeah.
It's not about just two individuals.
I think it's changing a little bit though. I mean, even for us too, right? It's not like we're like, let's check out Katie's family and then the compatibility of your family with our family, and then made that the central deciding point. We liked each other, and that was just the North Star for us in making any decisions.
Yeah.
But that might also be biased because we're also we have like experience abroad and studying abroad and we're living abroad. So
yeah, but really like kind of looking into how like marriages are done in like other culture was so interesting, right? We were so intrigued by it, so we like watched like 5 or 6 episodes in a row.
We watched like 5 to 6 hours of Indian matchmaking.
Yeah, because everything was so refreshing and new.
Yeah.
It's nothing that we've seen before.
There was one character. What was her name? Aprina?
Yeah.
Oh man, she was like had such high standards. She was kind of like
she was a lawyer,
She was a little bit bitchy, and she had in Korean we say 까다로워, which means just
picky.
very, very picky, and she just couldn't find anyone. And like her attitude on dates, oh man, I loved it. I was cracking up so much, and like
her episodes were your favorite part, right?
Yeah, because I don't know. I think, to be honest though, since this is a kind of a TV show, they might have pushed her to be more like rude in the first dates, so like she can have like a contrast.
Yeah, a little bit scripted.
Yeah, at the end. So,
maybe.
But yeah, it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
I think one other requirement that I didn't know was all of them were really looking into fair-skinned.
Oh yeah, but
I didn't know that was such a big importance.
I think I read from somewhere a long time ago that like people want to have lighter skin in India. What they find as attractive, one of the criteria is if you have lighter skin. So there's a lot of like those face creams that make your face like lighter. It's like very popular.
I see.
I saw it somewhere. Yeah.
That must be tough for girls. You have to like put all this lotion to make your skin look.
A lot of sunscreen and.
I think there's like whitening cream.
Yeah. In Korea too, though.
Why do Koreans need whitening cream? Whereas we don't get any sun here.
I think there's 2 things. The one is that they help blur out your dark spots on your face. So incomplexions. How would you call it?
Blemishes and
not blemishes, but some like dark spots and
sure.
Even out the complexions on your face.
Like uneven complexion.
Yeah, and the other one is also whitening.
Whitening. I see.
For me, when I was growing up, like all the media was like emphasizing lighter skin, and all the models you see on TV had very like fair and basically really light milky skin. So that was like the traditional beauty standard in Korea too. But now like we embrace all this diversity, and
maybe it's because like the top fashion houses, they're coming out from the US or the UK or like Western countries, and then they set the top down fashion, what's like nouveau or new. I don't even know if nouveau is the right
Is
pronunciation.
it a French word?
What's Vogue? Vogue? Or what's
Oh.
Vogue for fashion? And then like everyone copies that, and then that
Yeah.
trickles down to
Yeah,
other countries
that's
as well.
true. Yeah.
And normally the top models are all white, so then you just assume that the
Yeah,
closer
yeah.
you look. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. He went
Yeah.
from black to white too.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was watching this show, this kind of matchmaker would be perfect for a Korean community, Korean American community as well.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm
the
actually
match-
curious to see how like the moms will react.
Yeah, because when I first started about arranged marriages, like the default thinking that comes up is your mom just, brings one of her friends' daughters or something and says, "Hey, you're going to get married," right?
Yeah.
But what this matchmaker like does is it's really up to the person whether they want to proceed with
Yeah.
moving on with the person that was introduced to them or not.
Yeah, so
The
you can
decision's up
keep
to them.
rejecting.
I thought it was actually really nice. It's really
Yeah.
efficient. It's kind of like a Tinder, except it's a real person who really understands your family, the way they,
It's much more personalized.
your background, your education level,
Yeah.
and then it's filtering out all the crap that she knows is not going to work out for you, and
Yeah.
then increasing the probability of you finding a match for marriage.
Yeah.
I thought that would be like perfect for Korean Americans too.
Mm.
I mean, I know there are services in Korea, that matchmaking services, but somehow it doesn't have that much of an appeal. But like having like a VIP lady like this who has like
She flies all the way to America from like India
yeah.
to come meet your family and all this.
Yeah. I mean, I think there would be a huge market for a Korean lady, elder Korean lady, just built up a clientele list of like, just go into LinkedIn, do like a little data crawl, pull out into an Excel, meet them in person.
It might work out.
I think it could totally do it. And then, so then if we flip it on its head, what would be the requirements, or would it be a lot more different from the Indian version? Like the Indian parents, they were looking for, what do we discuss so far? Light-skinned, well-educated, career, well-mannered, and caste. Okay, caste is not going to be a big thing, but not much of a difference, right?
One thing would be like religion. Like most likely they want somebody who's Christian, or if they go to Catholic church.
Yeah, that's right.
Catholic.
Yeah. Pretty similar across the board. Like I don't see that much big differences.
Mm. And you know what I found interesting was the fact that they were saying they're coming here to this matchmaker because they want to marry an Indian guy, even though like they're American basically.
Yeah.
All of them were like born and raised in America. They have the American thinking,
Yeah.
a lot of American friends, but still they wanted to marry someone who's from India.
Yeah.
Because they think that it's much just they both have a common basic understanding of each other's culture, and they don't really have to explain all the small things. So it will be just easier. And I think that's like kind of same across the board for a lot of these minority.
Yeah. Another interesting point was the matchmaker. They take, I think for Aprina, she goes to a face reader.
Yeah.
Or like a fortune teller, but they actually had a face reader, which was so funny because that matchmaker shows a picture of that like troublesome client, and then the face reader takes a look, and then he just says like the most detailed things, and I just thought it was hilarious. Like he's like, yeah, this person is stubborn, but on July of this year she's gonna meet the person of her dreams. It's like you got all of that from looking at a picture.
Yeah, he had the exact like date.
But that culture of, what do you call it? Saju. What is Saju? Like fortune telling.
Yeah.
That's still very like popular in Korea as well.
Yeah, you see those places everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to like get a consultation on that, and like a lot of like Korean parents actually look into the fortunes between like their son-in-law and their daughter before they get married.
Yeah.
And they like kind of get a double confirmation from reading into that.
Yeah. It was funny because the lady, how she said it was, this astrology or this fortune teller gives me insurance, saying that like if the reading comes out right, then she knows that it was bound to happen, or if it comes out bad, then she knew from the start that it wasn't going to work, but it was your decision to go ahead and push forward. So when she was going through the criteria of guys, she was also going through their astrology readings too, which means it's a very important part of dating and marriage. And you would think that in 2020, like these ideas of fortune telling would be like all just disregarded. But
no, not in Korea too.
Yeah,
it's like very, very common.
Have you done fortune telling before?
I don't have to do it because my mom does it for me, right?
Yeah, your mom likes it.
Yeah, my mom has been studying, like reading into the like fortune telling and all this for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
And then she's already told me like all my fortune, so I know what it is.
All right,
and
spill the beans. I'm curious.
She studied into yours too, and you've heard it too, right?
Yeah,
before. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's really interesting.
She told us when we were in where did we
Italy.
Go? In Italy. You should tell about what your reading is.
But like the reading is, you would think that fortune telling or that would tell you exactly like the date you will marry or like whatever, the date you will die, all that stuff. But I think that part is a little bit of gimmick.
Yeah.
But they can kind of tell you more about like the trajectory of life. So now you're gonna laugh, but
all right, tell me.
No, but my mom said like I'm a big soil or something.
Wait, sorry. Big soil.
I can't remember.
Soil
기억이 안 나.
Soil as in dirt? Or earth?
기억이 안 나. But she said something like I need to live close to the ocean.
Okay.
Because like I need a lot of water.
You know your mom lives in Busan. I think it's just an indirect way of telling you need to live close to.
No, like just anywhere we go, whether it be like Gangneung or somewhere, wherever we decide to move to later on in life. And
like you'll do better mentally if you live near the water.
Yeah. Not because something about my spirit.
Yeah.
Like she divides you into different groups. You either have a lot of soil, or you're either full of water, you're either like lots of fire.
Yeah.
So depending on that,
but what is the criteria that you need to give her to get a reading?
You just give her your date of birth.
Okay.
And then the exact time that you were born.
Okay.
And then they will analyze the sun and then the ground and the water, the whole like spirit during that time.
That's right. Wait. I got to break it down a little bit. So part of the reading is, of course, what you give them is the time and the date. And then
that's all you give. Yeah. And then your name.
Yeah. And then your name. And then they also analyze then what was like the weather that day. What was what else? Like
we have those like...
Or the stars, what was their alignment during that specific date that you were born?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Or like the moon and the sun. So they will all combine it together and then do some analysis on it.
I just remember your mom telling me that the reason why we work well together is that I'm... Either me or you is a big piece of mountain and one of us is a big piece of water. And so...
Of course, mountain and water go well together. But you know why I don't remember the specifics? But your
mom was saying that if I was a big piece of mountain and we had two pieces of mountains, we wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. That's how they analyze. But I mean, I only kind of take it like kind of casually, which is why I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah, it's more fun and just...
Yeah, but to my mom, it's very serious. Yeah. And then she actually has like... She's been doing the analysis for a few years now, so she would get like consultations from friends, or like friends, like, to like look into their own like life trajectory.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
I actually want to go and get it done. It'd be
from a proper person or from my mom.
Well, your mom has already given me a positive reading, so I want to go to the ones like. If you visit Korea, if you go to Gangnam or Hongdae, you'll see little tents with like a lady inside with like a
but I don't really trust those places.
Why? Because they're too cheap?
Yeah, and they look more like games. You need to go to like a proper place where you have to book in advance, and then you have to like queue up, and like all the mothers know these hidden places.
What is the prices like? It's like $200, right? for a reading?
Yeah, it really ranges.
Yeah.
So it could be like as cheap as $20 to $100.
The one on the streets are like $5.
Probably. I've
5
never
minutes.
done it. But my mom said there is a lot of like gimmicks too. So people who scammers who don't really know a thing. And
but how do you distinguish between a scam artist and then a legit? I mean, it doesn't have to be like evidence based, so you would have to track whether the results of the advice you give to your clients.
Should
we get technical here and then go towards the scientific method?
No, I think once you get to a certain level, there is like, it's more like science.
Yeah.
Some levels are science. So you read this sign and the interpretation, like you can only go on this way.
Yeah.
But if that gimmick person goes into the completely different way, then you know that this one hasn't done enough studies.
I see. I think it's pretty easy to set up. I think I could set one up.
But you need to know Hanja.
No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set one up. I'm going to say this one is in English. And then basically charge around $200, $300 for reading. That way they know I'm premium. You have to book 1 month in advance. And then they're going to get all of this like pampered. Might even get like a hot towel when you come in. I'm going to go so far in English.
No,
and then when they ask me a clarifying question, I'm going to keep saying like all these technical terms in English. They're not going to not have any clue what I'm talking about. But then I'm going to say something very general like, you're going to become rich next year.
No, Daniel. It's all about integrity.
Okay. Right.
And you need to be a little bit like much older for someone to have a little bit of that kind of trust in you.
Oh, okay.
You better dye your hair all white and stuff.
Maybe I'll do this after maybe my 50s. It'll be my retirement plan.
But you know the funniest part?
Future neighbor's fortune teller.
You know the funniest part about this fortune telling thing is like what my mom said. It only works if you live in Korea. Because the soil, the nature, and all this, like how we have 4 seasons in our country. So all this interpretation is like makes sense. Yeah. But let's say I moved to like a Nordic country or like somewhere in Africa. Yeah. Then the climate is completely different. So she'll have to do a different analysis based on their soil.
I see. I love this natural monopoly that they've set up. You can't make branch offices. No one can copy your business outside of Korea.
Oh, so funny.
There used to be this Miss Cleo when I was living in the TV. I mean, when I was living in the States, in the afternoons on the weekdays, you would get Miss Cleo. She was a Jamaican fortune teller reader, and she would be on TV all the time being like, let me read you. I'll tell you everything. And I still remember. But anyway, guys, that's enough about fortune telling. Talking about marriages, I think a lot of people will be very disappointed with a Korean wedding. Like when I was seeing the Indian weddings, when they actually do get married, it's so festive. It's big grandeur.
So many colors.
A lot of colors. And I actually really like it that many Indian Americans, when they do their weddings, they keep it Indian.
Yeah, so traditional, right?
Yeah, I was never invited to one because I didn't really have that many close Indian friends enough. Well, actually, we're in high school, so no one was getting wedded. Yeah, that makes sense.
You do have a few Indian friends from the US.
Yeah, I do, but
they're not married.
None of them married yet. Yeah, but it looks fun.
Yeah, I wanted to really visit one.
We started comparing that to Korean weddings.
So boring.
Korean weddings are terrible, guys. Oh, like modern Korean weddings are terrible. Should I describe?
Yeah, you should.
What it is?
Yeah.
So if you live in Korea, you're going to get a lot of Korean wedding invitations. And it's different in the fact that in the States, you're like an honor of guest. A guest of honor, right? So you only give invitations to people who you really care about or are meaningful to your life and you want them there. In Korea, it all comes down to ROI. So generally, what's expected of a guest is you come and you don't bring gifts in Korea. You give money. That's just the default behavior is you come, you sign the guest book that you have arrived, and then you give them, in Korea again, 축의금. Means like celebratory money gift. So normally if you're a student, about $20. If you're working and you don't know this person, it's like a colleague, maybe around 50
Yeah.
to 100. And then if you're a family member, then it's all up to you. I mean, it goes
Or
into
a
the
very
thousands.
close friend.
Yeah, then in like the hundreds of dollars to
The
thousands.
fact that we even have a price table makes it sound so cold.
Yeah, but you know, one of my close friends, it was funny because I was at his house and he's like, oh, tomorrow I got to go to a wedding. And then he goes, oh, one thing, I got to go check. So he went to his wedding book and then he checked what that person gave to him at his wedding. And he was like, oh, that guy only gave me 20. All right, he's getting 20. It's so funny. It's very
But
transactional.
this is so true, guys.
Yeah,
this is like
that's how
what
people-
everybody does.
Yeah. And so I remember when I first came to Korea, I went with a gift and there was nowhere to place the gift. Like
No,
people don't
nobody
know.
brings gifts.
People don't know what to do with the gift. So they just put it at a table somewhere. I don't even know if, well, okay, my friend did get it, but I realized, okay, you got to understand the culture quickly.
Yeah.
And so what it is the parents usually pay for the weddings and that the dad will basically invite everyone he knows and he'll tell the kids to invite everyone that they know.
People you just pass by in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I met someone that I like at a gym and I knew him for like a month. And he was like, I'm getting wedded. You should come. And I was like, really? And he's like,
And then he'll give you his invitation.
yeah. And he's like, yeah, just come. And then even my college friend, when I was first into Korea, he gave me a wedding and I was like, oh, Hyung, thanks so much for the wedding invitation. Because I wasn't that close to him. I was like, thanks for, he's like, no, 내가 고맙지. Meaning, no. I'm thankful that you'll come. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. She's so nice, but he's normally not this like caring and nice.
So he sees you as money.
Well, that's kind of a mean way to say it, but that's just the culture. And so generally, the more people you invite, it'll cover the cost of the wedding venue and you make money.
Yeah.
And then you take that money and you use it to go do your honeymoon.
Yeah, or the remaining costs of the wedding.
Yeah, you pay it off.
Mm.
So, Katie, don't you get like at least like 10 or especially if you are working in corporate, don't you get like 10 to 15 requests every year?
Yeah, so when I was working at the bank, occasionally I would just get this like wedding invitation card.
Yeah.
Then I look at the name and these are like people that are not even that close to me.
Yeah.
But then when I was at that work environment, I
Yeah.
felt pressurized to give money, even though I don't actually attend the wedding.
Yeah.
So I would just like wire transfer money because it's so funny because in the Korean internal company portal,
Yeah.
they would announce this person's getting married and they would always put their bank account number at the
Really?
end.
That's
yeah,
hilarious. Like-
so you can just wire transfer.
Like the internal announcement board of the
Yeah.
company?
Yeah, because this is like the norm in Korea, right?
Yeah. And you're also socially pressured to go. When I was working at the bank and one person in your team is getting married and then, all your team member, like two people in your team members like, oh, hey, I'll be there. And you're like the one person who doesn't show up, then it gets weird between the people. But okay, let's say you got to the wedding.
Yeah. Then what happened?
What actually happens? Okay, you signed your name in the thing. You go, there's like a separate room to go see the bride, right? And you go and you say hi and you take pictures.
Yeah. You make it known that you are there.
Yeah. And basically it's about one. So there's different tiers that you can get married depending on how big your budget is. The most common way is these wedding halls. And so every floor will have like different rooms and each room has like 4 couples that are getting married at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And so you basically have 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's very structured. So there's like a guy who stands up. It's like going to mass.
Yeah.
If you go to church or something,
Yeah.
there's like a intro song,
Yeah.
and then they'll come in, and
Yeah.
then some guy will, welcome the guests,
And then we'll have some like friend who will sing a song for
will sing a
them.
song, and then within 30 minutes,
It's done.
they do these little bows to the parents, and then they walk down the aisle, and then it's done, and then it's time to take photos.
Yeah.
The photos is the most important thing because that's how they'll remember that you were there. And the whole thing, which was most disappointing to me, is you go to so many of these. Sometimes you go to 2 weddings in a day.
Yeah, it's like your set schedule.
Yeah, on a Saturday, you'll go in the morning and then you have another one to attend. So a lot of times you'll see like families. I mean, I saw some kids who came in like jeans.
There isn't really that dress code, I think.
Yeah, it's very casual.
Oh.
I mean, as you get older, of course, you should like be decent and wear like a business casual.
Yeah,
but a lot
for
of
kids.
But for kids, they come into, and then in the back, they're always talking.
Yeah, it's so
loud.
noisy.
Some kids are on their phones. Like, a lot of the grandmas are dozing off because they've been to at least 1,000 of these in their lives.
And usually there's just not enough seat.
That's
so
right.
everybody is standing up like all crowded.
That's right. We go back to that ROI. So they paid for a room that maybe fits like 100, 150 people, and then they spread it out to 250, 300 people.
Yeah.
And then sometimes 200 people show up. So then you're just standing in the back for an hour. And then as soon as the pictures are done, you get like these coupons.
Yeah.
Or no, you don't. You get those coupons when you sign in and give money.
Yeah, meal coupons.
That's right. If you don't give money,
you don't get it.
You don't get a meal coupon.
So you can't have like a lunch there.
You can't have a lunch there. So as soon as the ceremony is over, you get the coupon, which is in your pocket, and then you go upstairs to a buffet.
Yeah.
You go eat. You go say hi to your cousins and family members you haven't seen in a while. They'll start ranting at you. You try to go to a different table. Then another person comes. Then you go to a different table. I'm just talking.
No, and then like the bride and the groom will come and say hi to all the tables, and then that's the end of the wedding.
That's
basically.
the end, guys. That's the end. That's the end.
So I think in some ways people think of giving the money as paying for the meal. Actually.
Yeah, you're paying for your seat.
Yeah. And then I've seen some cases, or I've done it too. Like I'm so busy, so I just go in and I give the money. I see a little bit of the wedding ceremony, but then you go straight to the buffet long before the wedding is finished.
That's what my grandma does. Katie, my grandma goes, Daniel, let's go upstairs quickly. I want to get a good seat at the buffet.
Yeah. But that's so common. So like, you're there. Half the people are already eating before even the wedding ceremony is finished. It's okay because you can't really tell which part of the guest is your guest because the buffet is for everybody.
Yeah.
For all the couples.
Yeah. So if you think about how painful the process of getting married is for an event, for the finale to be that, I just feel like it sucks. That's the way it is in Korea. And if I guess everyone that you know is getting married like that, then what's the alternative? If you have more money, you're a little bit more richer, or your family has, more dough, then you go towards hotel weddings.
Yeah, they're so fancy.
They're very expensive. But it's a similar setup. Instead of a buffet, now the hotel is just giving you like a course meal.
To your table.
To your table.
And usually you have longer weddings, so they'll have.
No, not necessarily. Like a lot of the weddings that I went to, even that was at the most expensive hotel there, they finished right after. It was like a 2-hour thing, finished, and that was it.
Oh.
Yeah. But the setup is the same. You see the ceremony, take the picture, eat the food, and then you're out.
Oh.
That's why for us, from the start, we said we're not going to do a Korean style. We're going to do like an American style wedding where we bring guests, invite only the guests that we really want there, have a night, we do an after party, we go dance, have an eve. But I was explaining this to my uncles and they were like, oh, I'm excited, but are you sure people will stay? Because I'm sure they need to go do things on the other day. I was like, no. I'm going to disinvite those people. I ain't going to invite those people. I want to just invite close people who I know will stay.
Longer than 1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also another part of the wedding is like for the bride, you throw the bouquet.
Yeah.
But I learned that it's different to the US. So in Korea, everything is staged. So you already pick a member who's gonna receive your bouquet, and then that person will come out when it's time for the picture, and she'll throw, and which I did before one time too, because my friend asked me.
You were designated as the flower receiver. Yeah.
But when I went to my friend's wedding in Singapore.
Yeah.
Like
fighting for it.
Yeah, it was so fun because like there was nothing like planned beforehand, so all the girls will come out, and then she'll just throw it, and then everything was very spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
But that was like very different too.
Yeah.
And then also there's this thing that whoever receives the bouquet, she'll have to get married in the next 6 months. Otherwise, you will not be able to marry. There's that curse.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether that's why people sometimes when somebody asks you to receive the bouquet, you will resist because so most of the times they will only ask to person who has a wedding in plan. But at that time when I got that, like when my friend asked me to do that, she felt really like sorry because I didn't have a wedding in plan at that time, and we all know about that superstition. So she's like, yeah, and then she's like, I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't really have any other friends to ask. So I was like, I mean, I don't really believe in that. So I was like, no problem. But but
it worked. But it wasn't within 6 months.
I didn't marry within the next 6 months.
Yeah, but I proposed to you.
But that was long before, like 2 years ago. So it's not relevant.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, according to the superstition, I wouldn't get married this life.
You know, we have listeners who've been following our channel for a long time, and I think they saw our proposal video. And like just to give an update about where we are, our wedding date was set for this September. Was it September or October? I'm getting dates.
October, I think.
Yeah, it was for October, but then because of COVID, of course, we pushed it towards May for next year. And that was even like a big hassle because of all the deposits and money stuff. But then even next year is looking questionable.
Yeah. What's going to happen?
If guests fly in right now, you have to be in 2-week quarantine.
Yeah, self-quarantine.
And then the government's not paying for that anymore. So it comes out to around $2,000.
So before you had to stay in the government designated hospitality.
Yeah.
But now they don't do that anymore. So if you have a house in Korea, then you can basically self-quarantine in your own house.
Yeah.
And they will just come and check on you every day.
But for our guests, I mean, a lot of people don't have
if you don't have a house here.
They don't have contacts here. So so it just doesn't make sense. So we would have to wait. But that's been kind of weighing on us. Like, we want to sort of get married and push forward. But this also made us question what the value of a wedding is, because
maybe we should do a Zoom wedding.
It might actually be better than a Korean wedding. Yeah, if you look at a wedding, I mean, it's there to celebrate with your close friends and family. But if none of them can come, my dad, for example, he has like he's had a lung infection before. So he's kind of what you call immunity compromised. I forget what all these terms are. But anyway, he wouldn't be able to make it. So then because, my parents were like, then maybe you could just hold something Korean. I was like, no one will be there. What's the point? I mean, if it's just between you and me, we're already living together. So what change does it bring if none of our friends or family can come and attend? So we have no other option than just to wait this out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we force a wedding just for the sake of getting officially wedded, yet no one is there, what's the point in that?
Yeah, and also, I mean, we are in no hurry, right?
Yeah.
To get married.
Well, I think we should hurry up and get married. But yeah, COVID has just turned everything upside down. So hopefully we have our fingers crossed for May, but if the vaccine and things are not, then it might have to be pushed towards September. And I can't imagine then past September, then how do we even ask our wedding places to postpone 3 times? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so that's gonna be another.
At that point, at next September, if it's still like this, and we push already 2 times,
we have to find a new venue.
Of course, yeah. I guess that we have no other option. We would just have to wait.
Money thrown into the garbage.
Throwing into the wind. Flying away.
So, do we have any emails today?
You know what? I wanted to talk about someone on Instagram tagged us on another BBC video. I don't know what's going on with BBC. I think they want some beef with some Asians this week.
Yeah, there's some problem going on there.
Yeah, we were just having a day, but we were like, okay. So one of our fans kind of tagged us in this video, and we took a look. And BBC did a sit-down interview with I think some everyday Koreans and their views on eating dogs, right? So normally this topic, I wouldn't even look at it. As soon as I see it, it's just this is kind of like a some sort of hit piece trying to trigger Koreans or trying to like make Koreans look bad, or I don't know what would really think about, right?
Yeah.
But our viewer felt very like ashamed of being Korean for this, and she wrote like a very passionate like comment about it. So it made me actually click the video, and I was watching about it, and I kind of wanted to share our thinkings about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what a podcast is for, is to share opinions on perhaps controversial things.
Yeah.
So perhaps where we could start is, do Koreans eat dogs? The answer is yes. Koreans have eaten dog. Actually, where this comes from is after World War II and parts post-colonial occupation by Japan of Korea.
Yeah.
Koreans were starving, so there was a
They were so poor.
large famine, and basically Koreans could eat anything that they could put their hands onto because they were dying of hunger.
Yeah.
So I think dogs were even caught and eaten to eat.
Yeah, just any animals. On
Yeah,
the street.
exactly. And so this kind of, this is kind of where it comes from. So when someone does ask, do Koreans eat dogs? My answer is they have. Yes, they have.
Yes,
right?
it's been coming from those times.
From those hard times.
Yes.
Now, if we drive in Seoul, you can actually still see remnants of this past history. Like you'll see restaurants that serve boshintang, and this soup, it has like dog meat in it. I guess I have
never tried it.
I've never tried it too.
And we don't plan to.
There's basically no one in Korea is eating that. Where that's still left over is, I think, our parents' generation, who maybe their grandparents have had it during those very hard times. So I think up to our parents' age, I think you'll see some people who have tasted that dish. Our generation and forward, I would say close to 99%, do not eat that dish. But it can be found in Seoul and in Korea.
They're mostly like in corners, hidden corners. They're not like out in the main street.
Yeah, they're
like the back alley.
They're in the back alleys, and it's kind of the restaurants that are dying out. So let's take the emotions out of this and kind of run where we at legally in Korea about this issue. In 1962, there was a Livestock Processing Act, and basically in that piece of legislation, dogs were not classified as livestock. And why that becomes an issue is if you're classified as livestock, how you're raised and how your slaughter is regulated.
Yeah.
And without regulation, then, there's a lot of breeders who are catching these dogs and they're slaughtering it in like back alleys and in very inhumane ways.
As
right?
well as hygienic.
Yeah, it's not hygienic. I mean, if you're slaughtering cows and pigs, there's regulations on how to do that, and there have inspectors that come by.
But there's no like inspection or regulation on how these like dogs are being raised and like killed.
Yeah. On the flip side, there's also argument that if you put them as livestock, then it legitimizes the industry of killing dogs and eating them as livestock as well, right?
Yeah, so that industry will flourish
or
keep growing.
So this becomes quite strange as well. But proceeding on, in 1991, the Korean National Assembly, they passed an animal protection law that forbids the killing of non-livestock animals. So this was actually like an effort to prohibit the killing of dogs and cats, right?
So the killing of dogs became illegal then?
Yeah, it became illegal. And the law said you're not allowed to kill non-livestock animals in a way which is cruel or provokes disgust without proper rational reason. So it prohibits inflicting unnecessary pain or injury. And the intent was to basically stop slaughtering of dogs and cats.
So if it's illegal, how are there restaurants?
It was not enforced.
Ah.
Enforcement was an issue. So from there, there's been a lot of animal rights activists as well as the everyday person. Like, maybe I'm not getting this point across, but if you talk to anyone, basically anyone in Korea, they do not eat dogs. We're talking about, again, like a 0.000001 subset of the population who might have had it through hard times from their grandparents, and they still like this dish. And there are a couple of niche restaurants that are in Korea that still serve this, right?
Yeah, but it's increasingly more difficult to find them too.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a matter of economics. There's no demand for it. So of course it's going to go away. That's what I'm saying. Even all of this is going to go away. Those people are going to die out anyway. And then in June 2018, a South Korean court ruled that it's illegal to kill dogs for meat. So they were becoming even more specific. Seoul closed Taepyeong, which was like the largest dog killing operation in the country. They had 6 slaughterhouses. And this also shut down Moran Market, Moran Sijang, which was the largest seller of dog meat in Korea. So all the infrastructure is coming down. But did you know, as I was looking through this research, that it wasn't until 2018 that the US outlawed killing dogs for food?
What?
It wasn't until 2018.
Really?
Until then, up until 2 years ago, until 2018, it was extremely rare in the US,
Yeah.
but it was legal in 44 states to kill dogs and cats for food. So if you were starving or like in the mountains somewhere, you could kill it and it'll be okay. But President Trump, he signed the Dog and Cat Prohibition Act on December 20th, and it made it a federal offense to kill dogs and cats for subsistence.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like, you know, it's like common observed behavior not to eat dogs and cats, but that just gives perspective on things too, that it takes time to move law, but
yeah, but culturally,
we're already
we
there.
don't really. Nobody eats dogs.
That's why if like I see a video on BBC pushing this, I kind of like, what's going on? Like,
and why at this time? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Oh my
That's
gosh,
our
we
closing
went
thought.
through so many things today.
Yeah, we did. We ventured through a lot.
Yeah, if you guys have some time, go ahead and check out that Indian Matchmaker series on Netflix. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, let us know how you think of it.
Yeah, I would love to see other series like that in other countries as well. Be very interesting. We'll end it here. See you guys next week.
Bye. Thank you for listening.